Let's get straight into it and let's change my hair from this to this. We're going to do a classic vintage curl set using the Nikki Clark, I think these ones are called Flexi Stylers. I don't know if they do these anymore, but any hot sticks will give you the same effect. So I'm going to douse my hair in Lotta Body setting lotion. I actually much prefer the cheap one that you can get for Superdrug, and it's usually on the bottom shelf by like the perming solutions and things like that. But I bought a big bottle of Lotta Body, so I need to use that before I buy that. I've already applied a heat protectant spray because I used that before I dried my hair yesterday, and you don't need to top that up every time until you wash it again. I'm currently using the L'Oreal Elvive Dream Lengths heat protector. I just love everything from this range. Don't come at me if you like a hair care snob. This really works for me, and it's actually really helped change the texture of my hair as well, their products in this range, and it smells so good. Okay, so I'm actually going to spray this into my hand rather directly into my hair because I don't want to get it all over my lovely kimono. So I'm just spreading this throughout the lengths of the hair, trying to get it evenly coated. I don't want it to be sopping wet. I just want a nice even coating on all sides. I naturally have poker straight hair, so the slight wave you can see in my hair at the minute is because I slept with it rolled up basically in a big bun. So yeah, Lotta Body setting lotion and the Superdrug one both come in just sort of normal bottles, so you will need to buy yourself a little spray bottle so that it's easier for you to apply. And I think they're made to be diluted with water, which I have with this one, but often I will use it straight because my hair is so straight and hates being curled, doesn't last, so by using a very strong mixture it tends to last a lot better on me, and it will come out crunchy when I do use it straight, but once you've brushed it through it's really soft and bouncy again, so don't be scared if you have hair like me. But yeah, what I'm using at the minute is diluted with water. Okay, so that's all coated. Let's give it a quick brush through. I'm using a Denman's Boar Bristle brush, and the reason us vintage girlies love this is because it disperses the natural oils from your roots down to the ends. So yeah, worth investing in. Okay, let's open up the hot sticks. So we've got lots of little bendy rollers in here. Well, let's start with the fringe. I'm going to section that off. I'm going to take this whole fringe in one because if I was to section this off again it would be just too curly for me. So I'm going to hold the hair up. If you want root volume, you need to hold the hair up to curl. If you don't want root volume, or if you've already got too much, hold the hair down and then curl. But for me, I want that volume, especially at the front here. I'm going to place the Flexi Styler, whatever it's called, on the underside and wrap the hair around. I'm keeping it flat like a ribbon. I'm not twisting the hair. You can twist the hair. This will give you a different type of curl. So the curl I'm going for by keeping the hair flat like a ribbon is more like a barrel curl. If you twist it, you're going to get more like those old Hollywood S-waves. So I've just tucked the ends and holding them in as I begin to then roll the rest of the hair down over the top of the ends so they remain tucked in, and that's hugely important. You don't want ends sticking out everywhere because it ends up looking really scraggly and not the vintage look that we're going for. So let's start with our first section off the side. I'm going to take about an inch section, run it all the way down. And I lost a lot of hair last year, I think it was, after I had COVID, and it started to grow back, and you can see I've got random lengths everywhere. So my hairline is awful. I am using minoxidil daily and it is working, it's growing back, but I'm at that awkward stage now where I've got very fine bits, and yeah, it's so frustrating, but we're working on it. So again, I'm holding the hair up for volume. These get so hot. Ooh, spicy. Okay, place it underneath, keep the hair flat like a ribbon, wrap the length around. Notice I'm starting about halfway down the length of the hair and then keeping that end tucked in. The reason I start halfway down the length of the hair is because if I started at the ends, all of the curl would be down here and it would get less curly as we went up, but also your ends have been around for the longest and they are going to get fried. So by having them roll over the top of the rest of the hair, they're not in direct contact with that heat, so they're not going to get as damaged. Okay, next section, same again, inch section down the side, part that, and then we're going to turn these into about inch sections as well, so you're working in inch squares. The general rule for hair curling is the thicker the section you take, the bigger the curl it's going to be, and the thicker the diameter of whatever you're curling with, the bigger the curl's going to be. So if you want tight curls, take small sections and use a small curling tong or whatever it is you're using. If you want big curls, use a big barrel tong or take large sections. So if I took a large section of hair instead of these inch sections and wrapped it around these same hot sticks, I would have looser curls in the end. Okay, so I'm going to section this one off into two. I'll do one more run through with you and then we'll pick up the speed and just time lapse through to the end. So halfway along, place it underneath, holding the hair up for a bit more volume. You could, if you wanted to, hold it right up here or down here if you wanted to keep the roots a bit flatter. I'm going halfway. So halfway up along the length, keep the hair flat like a ribbon, wrap the length around. As you get to the end, now I cut my hair the other day, so I've got some layers going in because I did a horseshoe cut. So as you get to the end, you want to try and keep those layers underneath as you then roll the rest of the hair, so those ends are caught underneath the new hair that you're rolling up. Okay, I'm going to crack on and do the rest of these. We're going to keep taking inch partings and inch sections. We're always rolling with the roller underneath, rolling down. Okay, we're not going on top and rolling up. It's underneath and rolling down. We do that all the way around. Few little top tips for you. If you have lots of hair, you may find it easier to take a section and then clip the rest completely out of your way, because it is so easy to accidentally grab bits of hair from sections that you're not meant to be working on. Also, the neater your sectioning is, the better the finished result is going to be. And if you have hair that's maybe a little bit wavy, it will benefit you to just give each section a quick brush through before you start to curl, just to make sure everything is uniform. So again, placing that halfway down. As we hold the end, I like to start rolling up so then it catches the end as I roll and I can let it go. That is the last one. Let me just show you the back. so glamorous. So I'm going to leave these to cool down a bit. I'm going to get dressed and I shall check back in and we'll do a brush out when they're ready. So these have now completely cooled, so we're going to take them all out. This is the only thing that I don't like about the hot sticks, is that you have to straighten them out before you can put them back into their little bag. And it's just a pain in the bum. They're quite stiff. So yeah, that's the only downfall really, I'd say. So I'm starting at the bottom just because it's easier and I'm not going to get tangled in any of the new hair. So we're getting nice springy curls. I'm going to speed this up and come back once they're all out. Okay, so we're now at the Shirley Temple stage of the vintage curling process. I'm just going to run my fingers through the curls to separate them a little bit, which will swiftly bring us on to the 1980s phase of the curling process. Excellent. Looking good. Okay, now I am going to go in with my paddle brush. And there are kind of two ways that you can style your hair. You can either go for a sort of fluffy look, which we achieve by brushing through and not holding onto the hair, or we can go for a smoother look, which we would achieve by working the hair with the hand and brushing against the hand. That gives you that smoother curl. So I don't know which I want to do just yet, so I'm going to brush out without holding onto the hair and get that fluffy look first and see how I feel. If you've got longer hair than me or prone to knotty hair, you may want to start at the ends and start by holding on to the hair. So you'd brush through the end, work it up to the next section, brush through, and then finally brush through from the roots down. And this will just stop you from pulling knots from here down to here and getting really knotted down the bottom. My hair doesn't tend to get too knotty, so that's good. So we're just going to give the whole thing a nice brush through, and again on the other side. Okay, what do we think? I'm actually quite liking the fluffiness, and I might just run some pomade through to smooth out a little bit. And the other option would be to gather the hair kind of like in bunches and then brush around my hand to get the curls to kind of stick together, so then you get that smoother look. I'm undecided now I've done that. Let me just run some pomade through this side. So I'm using the Mark Hill Invisible Taming Polish. I actually really love this one, and you only need a small amount. You can get this from Boots, I think that's where I got it from. It's a small amount. Let's rub through the hands just to soften and warm it up. And we're just going to take that through the lengths of the hair. And can you see how that has just smoothed out any of the frizziness? See, the vintage ladies knew what they were doing. Let's give that another brush. Get some of that volume back in there by brushing through. So we just keep brushing until we're kind of happy with the results. If your ends aren't going where you want them to go, you can just gather the ends and work it around your hand. And then a little gentle fanning out will help that curl form nicely. I'm just going to use a small soft bristle brush just to smooth out the roots here. Like I said, I've got loads of new growth since losing a lot of hair after I got ill, so it's all coming back. But we just have to put up with this sort of frizzy stage to start off with. I'm going to use everybody's favourite, Got to Be Glued. It's a firm favourite in the burlesque community, the pin-up community, the drag community. We all love this stuff, so I'm just going to spritz that through. Just making sure I'm keeping it at a distance. If you get too close with your hairspray, which I've noticed a lot of people do when I teach hair, you end up getting sort of those really hard, crusty, wet looking patches. So by keeping it at a distance, moving it constantly, you're getting a nice even distribution and your hair still looks nice and matte. And I'm just going to use the hairspray can, what is this, bottle itself, to smooth out. So I'll just spray and then use it just to create those little ridges and get all of those little flyaways in place. So there we go, that's that side. I'm going to do the fringe first, I think, on this side. So let's get the fringe area. I could do with a bit more volume here. So I'm going to hold it up away from the direction it's going to fall, will mean that I get more volume in there. So I'm going to back comb, holding it away. So back combing, we're going in about 1 inch from the roots and just pulling down, and we're kind of using this C shape as we go. So it goes in, we scrape around, and we come back out, and we go back in and scrape around. So we're pulling all of the little tiny bits of hair down to the roots there. I'm going to give that a quick spray, and then I'm going to use that soft bristle brush again just to very gently and superficially smooth out the visible parts of the hair. So I've still got all that back coming inside, but we're just making the hair look as though it's smooth. Okay, so I'm using my hand to lay that hair over, and I'm holding that now as I work the bottom part down. Okay, can you see how I'm forming that curl, or helping it form, by just manipulating it with my hands, with the tail end of the comb. I can see the curl wants to go like this, so I'm just helping it along. Again, holding the hair down so that I'm not pulling all of this down. And we're going to give that a little spray. Make sure I get the underside too. So I'm just going to get a duckbill clip, and I'm going to clip that fringe in place just while I work on the rest of the hair now. So a little bit of pomade. Let's give it a quick brush first. A little bit of pomade after. So a quick brush to get that bit of volume back. A little bit of pomade. There are loads of great pomades on the market. Yeah, there aren't many that are rubbish, to be fair, that I've tried. They've all been pretty good. But yeah, you only need a small amount, especially if you've got thin hair like me. Otherwise you end up looking really greasy. So it's easier to build up the product than it is to take it away. So start small, add some more if you need to. Okay, and a brush through again. You can see how glossy that's looking now that I've added the pomade. I'm just going to work that around my hand at the bottom and then gently fan that hair out using my fingers. Hairspray. Make sure we get underside as well. Using the hairspray to help glue those little flyaways down. And I just like to do this at the end with a bit of spray. Wait for that to dry, just to add that little bit more volume. I'll do the same on the other side. I'm just going to sneak that pin out very carefully. There we go. So I've got an annoying little wispy hair bit, so I'm just going to get a bobby pin and I'm going to tuck that underneath the rest of the hair that's there and pin that down. So then the bobby pin is hidden underneath. Quick spray on the roots using my soft bristle brush, just going to very gently smooth down any little flyaways, new hairs that are coming through. Okay, so there we go, that's the finished result using hot sticks to create a vintage curled look. If you've got any questions, of course, please do ask and I will do my very best to answer them. This was just a very quick tutorial. Hopefully I will do another in future and go into a lot more depth about the different curling techniques, a bit more about brushing out and how you can create different effects, and about pinning the hair and pinning the curls to get a different shape as you brush out. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Betty Noir. Please subscribe to my channel. We will be doing a lot more vintage styling, but also join me for my 12-week burlesque action plan, which is going beautifully. Please go ahead and check out that playlist.